gentlemen, to a repeat of episode 12.
It's deja vu.
Tonight we have a very interesting episode for you, again. Mike D, what are we doing? Again.
I was here last week. I could have swore I did this yesterday. But today's episode is going to be really fun. We are doing something called All in the Family.
Yep.
And it's in the Buffalo Trace realm. Mm-hmm. And we got regular Buffalo Trace, we got Weller, and we got Eagle Rare. So these are, I mean,
honestly, I'm not disappointed that we're doing this again.
Well, no, how can you be disappointed drinking these three whiskeys again? Impossible.
They were all really good,
yes.
And I'm just sorry that you're not going to get our first impressions again.
Right, you're going to get fake impressions.
Not fake impressions. I'm just
going to. I'm going to act like Leo. Oh, this is so good.
We're putting on our acting skills for this one, ladies.
And you know, before tonight's show, I want to talk about what we did before tonight's show. If you checked out our Instagram, you saw that we were watching the Kentucky Derby,
yep.
And we made some of my famous mint
those things
juleps.
are dang good.
They were really good. If you watch the Instagram, you see how I made them using the simple syrup, the lavender bitters, the fresh mint from my garden, muddled it all up, man, threw some of that Stillhouse whiskey, which we've talked about, was on one of our shows earlier. Makes a great cocktail, no matter what cocktail you're making. But those were good mint juleps.
They were really good. They always hit the spot, too.
They do. And I want to talk about some of the food early tonight, real quick. Right. Because I want to give a little shout out to my man, T.I. here, who I've always said I will put this man up against anybody when it comes to smoking anything. And this man got some fresh salmon and made one hell of a salmon fish dip.
It was really good.
Oh, man.
Smoked salmon fish dip is probably like one of my favorite snacks.
Yeah, it was a great snack for watching the Kentucky Derby and having the mint juleps. It was just like, it was perfect.
Yeah, the flavors actually meld well together.
Yeah, that was so. Once again, shout out to you for that smoking.
Well, I mean, if we're giving shout outs, so Mike D, you make a pretty mean mini mac.
Oh, my mini mac sliders tonight.
Those things are so good, dude.
Yeah, so we cooked tonight. Both of us cooked tonight. Yeah. He made the smoked fish dip, and I made my mini mac sliders. Yeah. And I got this recipe on the internet, and it's one of those things where it's like you get the Hawaiian rolls, the butter savory rolls, and you just make the meat, throw it on top. You put the dressing, the Thousand Island dressing. Pickles, onions, lettuce.
Let's be fair. There's a little bit of a process, right? You have to cook the burger first. You don't just take the meat and just slap it on there.
This is true. We season the meat up, and you put it in a pan. You got to kind of pat it down to pretty much be the size of what size the bread is. Yeah. Because you get the whole loaf of that.
Yeah, it's like a 4x3, so you get like 12 mini macs.
Yeah, get 12 mini macs out of it, and it's really tasty. It's great for parties.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you guys just Google mini mac sliders, you'll find this recipe out there.
Yeah, that's super.
And it's super easy to make. It took me I think we had it all done within a half hour.
Yeah.
We made it fresh.
Of it's cooking time.
Yeah. Yeah. We used a brisket seasoning, which is basically the basics, like you call it.
It's called SPG.
Yes.
And because that onion flakes in it.
Right. And it came out so good.
It was really good.
But you melt American cheese on it with the pickles and the onions and the lettuce. Oh man.
It's a really good combo.
And after having the mint juleps, having the fish dip, having that, watching the Kentucky Derby, which that horse.
Yeah, Mage
out of nowhere. It was like, what, 15 to 1.
I was like, we were sitting there looking, and all of a sudden this horse just comes out of the backpack and just takes off. And I was like, what the hell?
Man, imagine you put $1,000 on that horse.
I know, right?
What they're walking away with,
man. Yeah, man.
But we were talking about that's going to be one of the things we want to do in our lifetime is get to that Kentucky Derby and hang out for that.
Just try it.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
See what it's about.
Or wear the crazy man hat.
Yeah.
And the crazy clothes that they wear there, getting on to the whole thing.
It'll be fun.
And I think they're famous for their barbecue at the
Really?
Yeah, I think they do like a barbecue thing there as well.
You know how serious I am about that, so I'd have to definitely check it out.
Yeah. And they're serious about their mint juleps there too.
Well, I mean, it's hard not to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good Southern drink.
Yeah.
So
it was tasty tonight too.
It was really good.
Really
tasty. Hit the spot.
Yeah. But I think we should get into our show.
Let's do it.
All right. So I think last time we're gonna go by height.
Yeah. So you see who we are on the lake. Boop.
All right, we're going to start with the classic Buffalo Trace. And how about while I'm pouring, T.I., you want to talk about Buffalo Trace in general?
Yeah, we'll do a little history on this guy. All right, so the Buffalo Trace bourbon is a premium bourbon whiskey produced by the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. The distillery has a long and storied history dating back to 1773, when a distillery called the Leestown Distillery was established on the banks of the Kentucky River. Over the years, the distillery changed hands several times and underwent various renovations and expansions. In 1857, the distillery was purchased by E.H. Taylor Jr., so we know that whiskey.
Yes, we do. E.H. Taylor.
A prominent businessman and distiller who is often credited with revolutionizing the bourbon industry. Under Taylor's ownership, the distillery was renamed to the O.F.C. Distillery, and a renewed focus was placed on producing high-quality bourbons. In 1870, the distillery was purchased by George T. Stagg, again another whiskey we know, who continued to produce some of the finest bourbons in Kentucky. Stagg also introduced several innovations to the distilling process, including the use of steam power and the introduction of copper fermentation tanks. That's pretty cool.
Yes,
Everyone uses copper now.
Yeah, that's the thing now, exactly.
Yeah. So then over the years, the distillery changed hands several more times, but the focus on producing high-quality bourbons remained the same. In 1999, the distillery was renamed the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and a renewed emphasis was placed on producing premium bourbons. Today, Buffalo Trace bourbon is produced using the finest ingredients and traditional distilling methods. The whiskey is made from a mash bill of corn, rye, and barley and is aged for a minimum of 8 years in charred oak barrels. It is bottled at 90 proof and has a smooth, complex flavor profile with notes of caramel, vanilla, and oak.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a, there was like a, I don't know what that was. It was like a story.
Well, you know what? Because it is a story.
It is a story.
They're not, it's just
well,
not.
I mean, these are all old whiskeys.
They're
right?
old whiskeys, and the Buffalo Trace to me was not just about the whiskey. It's about the history of that distillery and why it's such a big thing. And what they make, 9 or 10 or even more different whiskeys in that family. So I think that's why we have to tell that story.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get right into this.
Yep. I remember this smell like it was yesterday. It is nice, though. I will say, caramel's there. You get the vanillas.
You know, I just realized, too, I don't know if we have all different flavor profiles for the other ones. So we're going to do these blind tonight.
I love it.
We'll go blind tonight.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, man, this I feel like I just did this yesterday. Yeah, that caramel's there. The oak is there. It's definitely smooth. There's no spice right now.
No.
There's really no spice. Maybe on the tip of my tongue, there's a little bit of something there, but it's not even.
Yeah, it's light.
Yeah, it's light. It's light for sure.
Definitely like the vanilla, though. I like that. That's
and I see why this is so popular, and why it's so well thought out. Just a Buffalo Trace bourbon on its own, and I know they have sometimes limited amounts at certain places, and I know for a while our Total Wine over here was keeping this bottle, which you can get for $30, whatever, in the case where they keep the $1,000 bottles, because people were buying too many, and they were limiting you to one bottle per purchase, because it's such a popular.
It's just in demand.
Yeah, and
It really
the
is.
name is helping that. Everyone wants Buffalo Trace. It's got such a good name now, but I mean, it's so tasty.
It really is.
And you know what? It is going to be. That would be great for a cocktail.
100%.
It'd be great for a mint julep. It'd be great for an old
We
fashioned.
should probably try mint julep with it.
You should.
If you still have mint left.
Oh, I have plenty of mint. I got a whole garden full of mint. Yeah, no, we got plenty of mint. Although someone's been eating my mint, I was a little caught off guard. I've never seen that before.
Huh.
Well, I gotta get a chemical.
Oh,
I gotta go chemical out there, man.
It's no longer organic. Please.
No, I'm never organic, man. I mean, although I use organic poison, which is kind of funny.
Does that mean it's still organic?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a protein that kills the bugs and caterpillars from inside out, but it's an organic protein. It's protein, so it's an organic poison. It's not made in a chemical plant. It's it's made in a chemical plant, obviously, but no, this is so tasty. And we had a good start to our week this week, didn't we, T.I.?
I believe so.
What happened Monday? What happened on Monday, T.I.? What did we do on Monday?
What did we do?
What
on
happened?
Monday?
Let's tap those memory banks of ours.
Let me see. Processing. Oh yeah, Tennessee Whiskey 202.
Yes.
With our friends over at Whiskey University.
Yes, and that was a great night.
Shout out to it's Corey.
Corey.
It's Corey Goldfarb.
Yes.
He was the teacher. He's the instructor for South Florida.
And he has such knowledge.
Dude, he's so smart.
And he's so good at delivering that knowledge.
He really is.
And it was such a good night. We had, 3 different kinds of Jack Daniels for the class.
Yeah.
And then he was kind enough
to give us a very special number 27.
Number 27, which is expensive and maybe not that easy to get a hold of.
Yeah.
He shared that with us during the break.
Yep.
But it was kind of cool. We went through. Actually, I should pull out the picture real quick so we can talk about what we actually went through real quick.
We had some We had some Jack Daniels in there.
So we had Jack Daniels Classic number 7. We had the Jack Daniels Gentleman Jack. Then we had the Jack. Oh, my picture was not. And then the Jack Daniels Bonded.
Yep. Which I didn't even know they had.
Neither did I. And then we did the George Dickel Superior number 12.
Yep.
And then we did the George Dickel Bottled and Bond, which was my favorite of that. Even though the Jack Daniels Bonded was good, that George Dickel Bottled and Bond was my favorite of that series, of the first half of that class.
My favorite part about the class was gaining a new appreciation for Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I think
I've always looked at that whiskey as like, when
Jack
you're,
and Coke.
Well, yeah, when you're young and you're getting into drinking and you don't really know whiskeys that well, you're like, give me a Jack and Coke, give me a shot of Jack, blah blah blah. But like, it actually, when you stop and you taste it
and go through the flavor, it's amazing.
It's really good.
And I have to admit, I've had a thing about Jack, because when I was like you're talking about younger, and that's when your young days, and so like I even like probably even right now, if I smell Jack and Coke, I will probably get nauseous.
Well, that was I had to stop drinking Jack and Cokes because it just ruined.
Yeah,
it just ruined me.
Right, and I have a new appreciation for that Jack Daniels, and I think we had mentioned this before in one of our early shows when we did the Uncle Nearest. That he's the one that taught Jack Daniels how to distill, and he went deeper into that story.
Yeah, it was awesome,
and that was a much deeper story, and he showed us that cool picture. Yeah. Which back in the day was unheard of.
Uncle Nearest is sitting right next to Jack,
in the middle of all the guys who were in the distillery. And in that time, in that day and age, for a black man to be in a picture with all white men and be in the middle of that picture was unheard of. Yeah. So
he was respected.
Yeah, and Jack Daniels respected that, and he looked at him as a man. It wasn't what was going on in those times, right? Yeah. And I have a new respect for Mr. Daniels, if you will, for doing that and recognizing who taught him. And treated him like a regular person in that day and age when they were not treating them like regular people, which is messed up, man. So, all right, so I think we're going to move on to part 2 of our tasting with the ice.
Got to get that ice in there, It always changes up.
Yes,
every
it does.
time.
Yes, it does. And we'll talk about the second half of the class in a second too. What we did for the whiskeys,
which were all different.
And tell them where we did the class at.
Oh, yeah. So I know we've brought it up a bunch, right? So we've talked about Locale Gastropub, one of our favorite, eateries and wedding. I guess, what's the word for it? What's the term for like when you have like a spot you go to drink?
Speakeasy, watering hole.
Yeah, there you go, watering hole. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was thinking about. But so it's actually held there, which is it's pretty cool. And this time, instead of it being upstairs, and I think we've mentioned it being upstairs in the past,
in a private room.
Now it was actually in the restaurant. They actually opened it on the day off, which is really cool of them to just kind of have us in there and set up the room for a class and hung out.
And they gave we had wings and nachos for part of the food that goes with it. But they had their menu. The kitchen was open.
The kitchen was fully available to anybody.
And I think the last time we did our food pairing with them, we had those Cuban egg rolls, which we got that night, which were awesome.
Those are so good.
Those guys are so nice there. I really like that place. The owner's awesome. The bartenders are awesome. They're just so friendly. I really love that place.
And the food's awesome.
The food's
awesome. Amazing.
So if you get a chance, go check out the Locale Gastropub in Lake Park. Yeah. Worth your efforts.
By the way, since we're talking about Whiskey University, before we get into the water part here, so the next class is actually on June 5th over there. And they're going to be doing, I believe it's the history of bourbon. So they're taking it from like the very beginning of bourbon from like 200 BC or something like that, all the way up to modern times. And apparently we're going to be tasting whiskeys from certain eras along the way.
Okay. And we were just talking about that inside.
Yeah.
Because I was joking, like we were actually figuring where did really bourbon come from? Mm-hmm. Where did it start? Did it really actually officially start in Kentucky? Or was it actually started somewhere else, but then the process was refined and then it was...
Yeah. I think with anything, right, it's more of like the process has been around and then, it just kind of becomes more and more refined as we go.
Yes. So now we got the ice in here.
Yeah.
And
it mellows it out a lot.
It mellows it out a lot.
But not in a bad way. So like it's really like whatever spiciness is there without the ice when you're drinking it neat. It's still a little bit there, but it's kind of dulled a little bit, and then the other flavors come more to the front.
That caramel and the vanilla is definitely there more. Probably more of the caramel than the vanilla at this point. I think it was more vanilla and was neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%. And the oakiness is there.
Yeah, the oakiness is there, but maybe not as oaky.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is. I mean, even on ice, this is just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, for the price point, you know what, you get it somewhere between $30 and $40 depending where you go. You know, you shouldn't be paying more than $40 for it, in my opinion.
Part. That's the crazy part is like how in demand it is and how hard it is to find. Like, it's not a super expensive bourbon.
No, it's not.
And
really
you think
not.
it would be with how hard it is to come by.
And they have different editions too.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah,
They have tons.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like so tasty. It really is tasty.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy we were doing this episode.
Yeah, you know, I was. Truth be told, I was getting a little squirmy about it. You know, I was like, oh, it's too soon to do it again. I kind of want the flavors to be more of a surprise again. But you know, I'm kind of glad we're doing this.
It's good.
Yeah, like I'm kind of glad. Like, you know, we're going to have a guest tonight. We're going to bring him on probably next week or the week after that. I'm kind of glad we are redoing the show because anybody who's been paying attention to the news or lives in our area, everyone knows what happened last week, last Saturday. Massive tornado hit Palm Beach Gardens. Whoa, that wind. Another tornado's coming right now. No, you know, I mean, if you saw, I mean, it was all over like the news. Like the car got flipped over, boats were thrown out of the water. I mean, I had people calling me from like our friends in Arizona, Rob and my family in New York were calling me like, were you hit by the hurricane? I mean, the tornado. And I have to admit, for the last 3 weeks, we've had like multiple tornadoes hit our area, and like each one of them have been about a mile from my house. The one that hit Saturday was a quarter mile from your house. Like, we got lucky, man.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, our show got foobarred because of the power outage.
Yeah, it kept blipping.
And luckily, that's all that bothered us, right?
Yeah.
And you called it out at one point. The air was so still.
It was weird.
It was weird.
Like, there's no birds chirping.
Yeah,
it
was weird.
No wind.
There was just
nothing.
dead
it was
air.
Just weird.
And then all we heard was sirens.
And then I was like, that was a tornado.
Yeah.
Like a tornado.
And it was, we had lunch in that area yesterday, and you can tell that this area was hit by a tornado.
Oh, yeah, there's trees on there.
Oh, it was just, it looked like a tornado hit it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily we were safe. You know, thank God we were safe.
And everyone else was relatively safe. I think the worst was that person that got flipped around in that car.
In that car. Which, if you look at the video, it's a crazy video.
Yeah.
Crazy video.
It's like the car's there, and then all of a sudden it's like, woo. But yeah, I'm happy everyone was fine, and there was no major injuries or nothing.
Yeah,
because
we got very lucky.
That was crazy.
Got very lucky. So back to the Whiskey University stuff. The other half of the class, we had done something called Heaven's Door.
Yeah.
Oops. Nelson Greenbrier Tennessee Whiskey, Nelson Brothers Classic, and Chattanooga Whiskey, which we've had here before.
Yeah.
We did that. The
Shout
bottle
out to
bond. Jacob.
Bottle and Bond episode.
Yes, he did a great job with us, and we're definitely having him back on.
Yeah.
I talked to him about that. We're going to do like a phone one with him, like
yeah.
everything. Yeah. So that was a really cool part of the class too. And you know what we learned was, in order to be called Tennessee whiskey, it has to go through that Lincoln County process that Uncle Nearest invented.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do that process, it is not Tennessee whiskey. You can make it in Tennessee, but it can't be classified as Tennessee whiskey.
And that process is actually, when it's filtering it through the charcoal.
The sugar maple charcoal.
It's specifically sugar maple charcoal.
Yes, it has to
now
be
they
that
don't
tree.
specify how much, but I know at Jack Daniel's they have like a 10-foot deep pit where it like goes and filters through for days, I think, right? And then it finally drips into the barrel at the bottom.
Yep.
Right? And they that's a process that every Tennessee whiskey has to go
in
through.
some form or fashion.
Has to.
Yes, and each one's different. Some are 10 feet deep. Some are some. He was telling us some go this through tubes where they put the charcoal in the tubes and they just drip it through the tubes. So it's that was a good learning. So I didn't know that.
What was pretty cool too is technically Tennessee whiskey, even though it goes through that process, is technically bourbon.
It's definitely bourbon,
right? Now, the thing with bourbon, right, there's a rule that you can't have any additives.
Right.
And so their question is always, well, if you're filtering it, is that an additive?
Especially filtering it through that.
But is it really an additive? Because you're just filtering. Mm-hmm. You're not really adding anything to it. You're actually removing stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
But so I just finished mine. Did you finish yours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to move on. And we're actually going to...
Yeah, so we're going to head on over to the Weller side.
The Weller. Now, everyone knows about Weller being, one of the more not as easy to get a hold of whiskeys.
It's a little bit more difficult. You want me to take on this one, too?
Yeah, you might as well do the histories tonight. And I know the Weller one is something that you're really interested in because of what you had discovered doing your research.
Yeah. So Weller... was, well, I guess I'll start at the beginning.
The beginning.
Way back at the
beginning of time.
I wish I had like an epic like movie sound for that.
Like from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Giant baby in space.
Right?
So William LaRue Weller was born in 1825 in Nelson County, Kentucky, and grew up in a family of distillers. In the mid-19th century, he began experimenting with different bourbon recipes and eventually developed the wheated bourbon that would become the basis for Weller bourbon. Weller, a pioneer in the bourbon industry, who is credited with creating the first bourbon recipe that used wheat instead of rye as the secondary grain. Weller's wheated bourbon recipe was a departure from the traditional bourbon recipe, which is typically, 51% corn at least, and then usually rye and something else, barley. So in this case, it's no longer rye, it's wheat. He believed that wheat produced a smoother, milder flavor profile than rye, and it was better suited for aging in oak barrels. His wheated bourbon recipe was an instant success and quickly gained a reputation as one of the best bourbons in Kentucky. At some point, he also hired Julian Van Winkle, a.k.a. Pappy. Weller continued to distill bourbon until his death in 1899. His legacy lived on, however, and his distillery, W.L. Weller & Sons, was merged with A.P.H. Stitzel Distillery to become the Stitzel-Weller Distillery. The Stitzel-Weller Distillery produced Weller bourbon for many years, but eventually went out of business in the 1990s. Today, the Weller brand is owned by the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which acquired the recipe and the brand in the 1990s. Weller Special Reserve, which is what we're drinking, is essentially the same whiskey as Pappy Van Winkle in recipe. It is most closely related to the old Rip Van Winkle 10-year, however, it is aged in a different location from Pappy. Also, Buffalo Trace will not confirm how long it is aged for. This means that for a fraction of the cost, you can get a similar nose and flavor as the Pappy line.
So that Pappy line's expensive.
Yeah, the Pappy line, and it's because, there was that thing where some were lost and, stolen or whatever happened to them, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, the 10-year, I think, goes for about $2,600, $2,000, somewhere in there.
It does, yeah.
And this one, if you can
MSRP.
find it, if you can find MSRP, this one is like $30.
$30, but I think you got it for 60.
I got it for I think it was almost 70.
70?
Almost 70. I think it was like 67.
Okay.
Something like that.
Because you got it online.
I had to buy it online because it was like impossible to find it out here. But like if you can find it, for like $35, $30.
Because I know when I got it through my whiskey club online, it was like 70 or something like that. Yeah. So it makes sense. So without having the flavor profile in front of us on this show. The smell is definitely sweet. Some toffee in there, caramel.
Some toffee.
Not spicy, no spice in the nose at least.
I think there's maybe a little bit of some sort of baking spice. Maybe.
Yeah, but not like
cinnamon.
Yeah, but not pepper. Definitely, like a cinnamon or something like that.
Yeah, maybe a little mint. Maybe I don't know. It is a very good bourbon, though.
That is so smooth. I mean, we just had the Buffalo Trace, right, which was very good. This is actually like a different level of smooth, and those flavors in there, they're subtle. They kind of just sit on your tongue and they just kind of hang out there, not one overtaking the other. And there's definitely that baking spice, the caramel. There is that cinnamon maybe, but like it's so like faint. It's not overtaking anything in my mouth.
There's a little butterscotch in there too. This is I don't know. When we were drinking it, I was like, this is probably one of my favorite. Like I really want to find this MSRP just sitting on the shelf somewhere
and get
because man, it's so worth the price.
Yeah, even at 60, it's still worth the price in my opinion. Especially if you're comparing it to Pappy Van Winkle, where you paid like $2,000 for a bottle, But I mean,
yeah, and that was an interesting little tidbit of history.
That is
when
interesting.
I found it, I was just like, really? Like it literally would just be aged in a different part of the warehouse or in a different warehouse altogether, but it's like the exact same mash bill.
There's definitely a little bit of woody in there, a little oaky in there. A little bit in there.
It's a touch.
But like this one's making my mouth savor, like water a little bit. It's really giving me that nice.
It is a savory bourbon.
Yeah, it is. That is very savory. I think this one I would not mix a cocktail with. I really don't think I would. You could. I think you could.
I don't think I would.
But I don't think I would. I think this is just too good. A little fly in there, something living in there.
It wanted its share. I can't blame
right,
it.
yeah, right.
I
You
can't
know,
blame
hey,
it.
it's like it flew into the weller over the Buffalo Trace. So that fly had
It was
good.
like, hey, what's up with this?
That gnat had like good taste. But yeah, I mean, this is just something where like, right now, neat. This is really good. The Buffalo Trace was good, neat. This is really good, neat. Like this is something you could definitely sip neat. You know, like before dinner. Like, you know, you're going out for a good steak dinner or something like that, or good, you know.
Oh, yeah. This would actually be a really nice,
This is definitely steak and
entry,
whiskey.
like an entry to the dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You're going to have it.
Oh, yeah.
I like this. It's a solid whiskey.
It's a solid
I was
whiskey.
very happy when, you know, I was actually pleasantly surprised with as much as, like, you know, as both you and I have been kind of learning about whiskeys and kind of getting into it.
That is so good, man.
Like, actually being able to have Weller and like try it out and appreciate it and like find it,
Yeah.
be, like learning about the history of it.
Yeah.
I can see why it's popular.
Absolutely.
Like it makes sense.
Yeah. No, this is really, really good. You know, tomorrow I'm going to Sunfest, and I have other whiskeys I'm going to bring me, but if I had, I may even have some of my Weller left. I got to check. Because stuff like that always lasts longer in my closet. My closet is getting out of control now at this point. I'm going to be smuggling whiskey into Sunfest tomorrow. I got my little plastic, my plastic, oh my God, we're drawing a blank here. Flasks, yeah. So I got my plastic flasks. Because you can't bring metal in because they make you go through a metal detector, you know, because, you know, how things are nowadays.
Everybody's in stranger danger.
Oh, my God, it's crazy out there. But, you know, I'm getting mixed. I'm getting not great reports about Sunfest right now. They changed it up big time.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's funny because it started off as an art and music fest.
Yeah.
It is now strictly a music fest. They got rid of all the art, which I'm really disappointed in that because I wanted to get some more stuff for my patio, wood art, stuff like that for my
But
patio.
they also dropped down the the amount of stages and
Yes, they
everything,
went from
right?
three to two. And I'm hearing that there's like really not a lot to do now other than go to a show or go to the floating bars.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't.
Honestly, I have zero idea why they would have done that. So, I think the last time I went, it's been a minute. I think the last time I went was like 2016, 2017. But, I mean, it was awesome. Like, there was, you know, artists out there peddling their wares and showing different stuff, and they had some really cool art. And then, you know, there was 3 stages, and there was plenty of room to walk around.
Yeah, and they had
stuff.
those vendors like,
Yeah.
you know, not just the art vendors, just like, you know, the different businesses giving out their swag, you know.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a good, like, spend the day, walk around,
Yeah.
chill out. I even heard the whole food thing change where they got it like maybe, they just have a whole food area.
Yeah.
Now it's like 4 or 5 food trucks. Well, food trucks aren't bad, but
not food trucks, but still, it's like when you have a
something's
bunch
off.
of like restaurants there, you know.
yeah, something's off.
That seems weird.
You know, and you heard from your friend it wasn't
Yeah.
great. My sister-in-law went last night, and she said it wasn't.
I think there's like a certain level of something that, you know, we've come to expect from the event.
I guess.
And then, you know, so Sunfest itself, for those of you who don't know what Sunfest is, it's actually a kind of celebration of the end of season.
Yes.
Right? So here in South Florida, it's a very popular destination for all the snowbirds. And they come down in droves, and it's kind of like a crazy 7 months, and then they finally disappear around this time. And so they put the Sunfest to kind of celebrate Floridians having Florida back.
Yes.
And so it's always been like a big music festival, and it's down in West Palm Beach, and it's huge, and it used to block like tons of city blocks, and it was a party.
It went from Oakland Boulevard all the way down to like where the yachts were.
And it's like it was like a 5-day affair or 4-day affair or something like that.
It used to be 5 days. It used to be a 5-day affair.
And then they just kind of made it 3 days.
Yeah.
And they cut down the amount of artists, and they cut down the artwork and the people
Now
there.
there's no artwork at all.
Like,
I mean,
it's just kind of like, oh,
so
what's the point of celebrating it then?
And I'll give you my full report next week and tell you how I felt about it. But you know, because we want to go tomorrow and. Depending on what time I get there, try and catch Ziggy Marley. I don't know if I'm going to get there for Ziggy Marley. But the reason why we're going, we want to see the Killers and 311. So you know, I'm looking forward to that. I've seen 311 before. They've always done a good show. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully I'll have fun. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm definitely smuggling in some whiskey for myself to sip on. Got to be a good one on neat because from what I'm being told, because there's less to do and it's a smaller venue that the bars are more packed.
Yeah.
The bars
exactly
are
what I
not the floating bars.
Yeah, because you're not spreading the people out anymore.
Right.
Now it's like they can only go to a stage, or the floating bar.
Oh, the floating bars,
Rather
exactly.
Before, you know, like 3 stages, and you had all the artists. And
I mean,
everybody could spread out.
I'm assuming they have the beer vendors out there somewhere. Hopefully.
Let's hope.
You know, but now I also heard that they've gone green more, and you can bring your own water bottle in.
Oh, that's nice.
And they have water stations. And Jack Johnson, who's playing tonight, is helping like usher that in.
Okay.
Because he's all about the environment and all that stuff. And so, and they want to be more green. And because I mean, look, I remember last time I was there, a bottle of water was like $8.
Yeah.
Or something crazy like that. So
Hey, if you can get free water,
yeah, they have water. They have water filling stations. So I'm assuming they're filtered water stations.
I just hope so.
I hope so, especially in West Palm.
It's all sprinkler water.
Yeah, right. It's all that reclaimed water.
Water.
So I'm going to bring a bottle for that too, so because I want to keep myself hydrated. Obviously, being out in the heat,
especially
like
if
that.
it's going to be sunny tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. It's supposed to be a little hot tomorrow. Yeah. You know, and that's what I remember too. Always sweating out there, man.
Right. So this one it definitely changes a lot when you put some ice on it.
And I like it on ice too. Although I think the neat is the way I would go with this mostly, but if I wanted like as a cooling drink, this is very nice on ice. And those flavors
All of that spice kind of went away.
The spice went away. The oak kind of went away. It's really more of the caramel, the butterscotch. I think the baking spice is there.
A
little bit. But yeah, more of the sweetness came out of this.
I like it though.
Oh no, I like this. Yeah.
This is pleasant. I actually did forget how good it was on ice. I'm not going to lie. I think there was around this part where like the tornado was hitting is when we were doing the weather. So it's like I don't remember too much because my mind wasn't really in the episode anymore.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Like, holy crap!
No, it's funny because I asked you, do you guys lose power here a lot? No, we didn't lose power here. And then we lost power like 4 times. And then like the last one lasted. We went out without power for about 20 minutes.
Oh, we just stopped.
Yeah, we
just stopped while we walked out, and that's when we noticed the crazy weather.
But yeah, on ice, this really
It's good.
Like, I would have it on neat before my steak dinner and then have it on ice with my dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it keeps it, because it's like nice and wet. You know what I mean? I don't have to describe it. And it's still making my mouth water. Mm-hmm. You know?
The wind's getting all rowdy.
Yeah, get a nice little wind, though. So I like that.
I don't mind the breeze.
No.
I don't need it to be hurricane winds either.
No. So played some golf today.
All right.
It was nice out there.
How'd you do?
I was in a neutral mode today. I didn't play bad. I didn't play great. It was just kind of I was in one of my neutral modes where I was like a couple good holes, a couple bad holes, got a little bipolar in the middle there, and played with our guy who did the logo for us. We've made shout outs to Eben before, and had a good time with him, and he really enjoyed that Wilcott whiskey that we gave him for doing the logo for us, and. He's been sending me. Actually, I got to send you the things he's been sending me. He's all he does now. He tells you I just watch bourbon and drinking things on YouTube.
Oh, look at him go!
Yeah, he's all into it now. And he wants to start buying more bottles, and he wants to get more into it.
There you go.
So we should watch. I should send you these things. We should watch them. Maybe get some ideas about making some changes to our show. We've actually been talking about making some changes. We're gonna be doing some different things here and there. Some more mixologist stuff, and maybe some more I kind of like doing this as a blind taste without the flavor profiles here.
That's nice.
And to do some more different things. We've been stocking up on some whiskeys. We were just talking about that too. We had lunch yesterday. We were we got to go through our inventory, and we've been kind of like pre-buying for future shows. But I've done so many of that now that I don't know what I've pre-bought now.
Yeah.
Which is scaring me a little bit because I don't know what I have.
Like a stash now, and it's like I need to figure out what I'm drinking, what I need to not drink.
Right, because we went what's for the show, what we pre-bought for the show.
Yeah.
So we got to do that. Yeah. So we have some. I know I have some good whiskeys right now that I've been buying.
I know I got good.
And I don't,
I actually picked up the Balvenie and the Glenlivet.
Oh, I know you get that Balvenie Caribbean class.
Yeah, the 14-year Caribbean cask.
That is one of my favorite
Found it at
all-time
Costco,
scotches.
$89.
That's so well worth it. Because I think at Total Wine it's about $100 for that one, if I remember correctly.
It was like $89, and then I also picked up the 15-year Glenlivet.
Nice.
Single.
Yeah, through my whiskey club, I got my free bottle. It was a 12-year Glenlivet Double Oak.
Oh, nice.
But that 15-year is going to be good.
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to crack it at some point.
Oh, yeah. No, that's going to be really good. And we're going to be pretty soon doing a high-end Scotch thing because we got that Delmore. Is it Delmore? Am I saying it right?
It's the Delmore.
Dalmore, not Delmore. Dalmore, 15-year, which
I get to try that tonight.
Yeah. You have a little taste of that tonight, and
That's because Mike D, you snuck in a little bit, and then you couldn't not tell me. That
I know. I felt guilty. I'm texting like, so,
and I'm like, well, no, I want to try.
And I think we're gonna do like a high end where we do a high end single malt and a high end blend.
Yeah.
And it's like that would be a nice like kind of good show.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, that Delmore was.
It's so ridiculous. What it reminded me of, and I'm not sure, how many people have had this stuff before, but it's like those chocolate oranges.
Yeah, you mentioned
right,
that. Yeah.
but they have like a dark chocolate one,
Yeah.
and that's what it reminded me of. There's so much like orange deliciousness in it, like a lot of the marmalade sweetness and orange and stuff like that. But then it's also finishes with dark chocolate,
Right.
and it is so ridiculously good.
Yes, yeah, it's a tasty little treat. That really is. I had to have you had to try it.
I had to try it.
Yeah, and I had to try it the other night when I came home. I'm like,
Yeah.
I really got to try this.
I mean,
it was burning a hole in my pocket, if you will, like,
burning
to
a
try.
hole in the bottle.
Yeah,
And now I think we came to the agreement when we buy a bottle, like if you want to crack it and try a little bit,
get a little. Yeah, we can't always wait for the show.
Yeah, no.
We really can't. And something like that, it was just.
I mean, like the Balvenie.
Oh no, you have to go into that. No,
I'm
'cause
impatient.
that's my favorite. Like I said, that's probably one of my all-time favorite scotches.
And I actually wanted to purchase that. I think I wanted to purchase that for my private stash.
It should be.
I want it to be on my.
That needs-
I want
that
it to
needs
be
to
on
be
the
in
show,
your- yeah.
but I also want it to be in my stash.
Yeah, no, it needs
I
to be
want
in your
that to be a
stash.
cool
No,
one.
that
to
is
pull
a.
out.
Belvini makes a great product in general, but that's my all-time favorite one, man. I love that one. All right, so I think we are going to move on.
Yes.
So now we're going to go to the bigger, tallest bottle now.
Senor Eagle Rare.
Senor.
I'm actually, so all of the stuff all the shenanigans last weekend during the tornado, it all happened when we were doing the Weller. So I'm actually retasting these for the first time. My mind was definitely not in the drinking mode once I found out that a tornado hit. I was just kind of like more worried for us, and like the show was ruined at that point.
It was
like,
weird. I have to admit, like, because we had the break in the middle, right? We stopped. Like, we literally stopped. We stopped drinking. We stepped outside.
We had to.
It was really, really weird. And you're right. It kind of like, I don't know if tainted the show is the right word, but it definitely kind of made it wasn't
It made
the same.
me totally forget.
It just
what
wasn't
heck
the same
we
for
were
me.
doing.
It wasn't the same show.
No.
Something felt wrong to me.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're because stuff like this, you got to keep going.
And you know what? For everyone that listens to us, I super appreciate you guys' patience with that. Like, I felt really bad that we couldn't produce a show for you guys that week. Like, I was like, man, this was going to be a really good show. DeCabes and I, we've been talking about this. Like, we've been hyping ourselves up to get, all of this, all in the family episode. I think we've been planning it. We were planning it for like a month, right? And it was just one of those things when it finally happened, and then all of a sudden a tornado happened. I was like, man.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was so disappointed.
Why don't you talk about the Eagle Rose while I set up our pours here?
All right, so on to the Eagle Rare. Back in 1975, Eagle Rare bourbon was introduced by Four Roses. Also, there was a lot of Four Roses at Costco, which is owned by Seagram's and master distiller Charles L. Beam. Beam was inducted into the Bourbon Hall of Fame posthumously in 2010. Eagle Rare was created in part to compete with another bird-themed bourbon, might or may not be Wild Turkey, which also happened to be distilled to ER's original proof, 101. It was distilled at the Old Prentice Distillery in Lawrenceburg, which later became and is currently the home of Four Roses. In 1989, Sazerac purchased the ER brand and bottled whiskey they sourced for a few years, possibly from Heaven Hill, before they bought the Buffalo Trace Distillery, then known as the George T. Stagg Distillery, in 1992. During this era, many of the Eagle Rare labels had a location listed as New Orleans because Sazerac was headquartered there, although that does not mean the product was actually bottled in the Big Easy. The last labels with New Orleans listed on them were likely produced around 1997. So if you got a hold of one of those, you're on a collector right there.
Yeah, that's a valuable one.
In 2005, Buffalo Trace discontinued the 10-year-old 101 proof expression along with the older bottles and label in favor of a 10-year-old 90 proof single barrel offering that you find on shelves today. So I imagine if you could find those ones, man, That'd be one heck of a find.
That would be one heck of a find.
The recipe is part of the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1, a low rye mash bill that is also used for bourbons like Buffalo Trace and E.H. Taylor Small Batch, both of which we've had at least one of.
Yes, we've already had one.
Both.
Yeah.
I think we've had both.
And now I got this. I had to find this one online, and I don't know if they have it at Total Wine. I didn't look, but I think
This is another one that's just hard to come by.
Yeah, it was $80.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I totally agreed with that price point when I tried it last time. And it's a very good bourbon.
It does. It smells nice.
It does. It smells like all these smell nice. I think more oak on this one. I'm getting out of the gate more than the other two.
Well, it's more oak. Kind of. It smells spicy.
It smells like that alcohol. Peppery spices there.
Alcohol smell to it.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing.
No,
when I say alcohol, I just mean like that ethanol, like
right.
It's nice though. I like it.
Yeah, it has a really good smell to it. Nice color. Mm-hmm. I'm going in.
Yeah, go in. What does this remind you of? Is it Eagle
Walking
Rare?
in a field, watching the eagles fly with Eagle Rare.
It's a rare eagle.
That is savory, man. Like, this is savory to me. Like, this is so good. And once again, I think each of these have gone up a level as we drink. Literally by the size of the bottle, it's gone up a level.
Ooh, that's good.
There's. I gotta call. Let me go in one more time. Hold on.
I'm sad I forgot what this tasted like. Wow.
That spice is on my tongue.
It's a little bit there.
Yeah, the peppery spice is there. It's got that caramel for sure. I don't think there's no vanilla in there. I'm not getting any vanilla. I'm definitely getting caramel. Maybe some.
Maybe a little raisin.
I was thinking raisin or plum. Something in that vicinity there. Like a dark fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's like dried fruit.
Yeah, dried fruit, like a dried dark fruit, like a plum or a raisin or.
You don't even have to put a label on which fruit it is. It just tastes like dried fruit. It kind of has that dried fruit taste. I don't know.
Oh, but I mean, this is so. While you were reading the history, I was looking at the bottle. It does suggest to serve it with a Manhattan or a whiskey sour. Ooh. So it is telling you to make a cocktail with this.
All right,
and I think I would make an old fashioned with this, or a Manhattan, maybe more of a Manhattan than an old fashioned.
You know what? I would be interested in trying a whiskey sour, but a true whiskey sour.
Oh, with the egg white in it.
Yep. Because that's I could imagine this being really good with something like that. Because that's going to be creamy, and it's going to be very fulfilling to drink, right? I could imagine that being good with like an actual whiskey sour. Not what some people do, where they take sour mix and mix whiskey with it, like an actual true whiskey sour.
Yeah. No, this is so good. Like. If you really have someone who's a whiskey drinker, really likes their whiskey, this is a gift for them. It is. Now that I'm tasting this, right, and we just did these other two, I'm gonna say Buffalo Trace and Weller are closer in terms of what they are. I think this is a little bit on the outside of those two.
Yeah, so to me. Weller stands alone just because out of the three here, it's the only weeded one right here.
Yeah.
Right. I will say is in terms of enjoyability and the complexity of the flavors that we're getting, Eagle Rare kind of wins that one.
Yeah. It's definitely
Right,
you're right. It has a complexity in there.
Yeah.
There's a
lot more from it.
There's a lot of things going on in there.
Yeah.
And like I said, my mouth is more savory.
Some chocolate too.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of chocolate in there, cocoa.
Yeah. That's probably what it is. It's probably a dark cocoa.
Yeah.
That's nice though. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. No,
I would totally buy a bottle of that.
Yeah. No, I look, all three I would buy.
Yeah.
All three I would buy, and if you want to buy a gift, it really depends how much you like the person. And that gives you
Or how much
price
they
point.
care about their whiskey.
And how much they care about their whiskey. But all three you can't go wrong with them. It's a great family.
Yeah.
These are great cousins.
Honestly, what I really want to do is I want to get the other Wellers. I want to try it out.
The different ones. There's a couple different
They
ones.
got foolproof. They got I don't know. It's like this is the special. They got a couple other
I mean,
ones.
they have like 4. I think it's 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I know they have a purple label one. Someone told me that's a really good one to get a hold of.
if anyone out there like has had the other ones and you want to suggest the next purchase I can make for Weller, throw it out there.
Hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah, let me know on Instagram. After you've listened to this episode.
Yeah.
Or even if you see the post that we did last week when we were introducing the bottles, leave a comment and tell me what your favorite one is. That's Weller.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about it. Like, I want to try the other ones because I'm impressed with it. I'm impressed with Weller. I like Eagle Rare. I like Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace, if you could find it more readily available, it'd be in my collection all the time. Because I think it would make a good cocktail. It'd be something that's easy and not super expensive to bring in, right? But, with how hard it is to come by, I'm also not, like, running to make it my main mixer. Because once it's gone, I'm going to have to, like, go on the hunt again.
Right. Well, I have so many main mixers now in my collection. If I'm out of one, I got another one waiting.
Well, that's true. I mean, I guess at this point, I do have a couple of them in there.
Yeah, come on. With all the whiskeys that we have now, you probably have 3 or 4 that are easily main mixers going forward now.
Probably more than that. There's even some where I wouldn't have considered them mixers, and then you find out that they make really good cocktails.
Yeah.
Like the Jinjaku.
And then the Centauri, that grapefruit.
Yeah, that Centauri Toki.
That grapefruit old fashioned I made, which was really tasty.
Did you see? So Jinjaku actually chatted us out on Instagram, and there was like a really cool reel of them making like an old fashioned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was some.
I saw that.
Yeah, up in VA.
Yes, I saw that.
Making some old fashions with it, but it was like their take on it. It was really cool. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this on ice. So that kind of alcohol smell, gone. That's nice.
I think the oak is. There's more oak now. I definitely got a good oak sensation.
I'm definitely smelling like fruit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that fruit.
It's like a savoriness.
Yeah, that dark fruit. Or dried fruit, like you said. Yeah.
Ooh, my goodness. All right.
I am going to say I like this better on ice.
I like this way better on ice.
Yes, this is definitely...
those flavors came out.
This is definitely like chilling around, having some whiskey on ice, watching some football.
Damn.
Watching a movie.
That's definitely like very pronounced. That like cacao, however you want to say it. The dark or the dried fruits. All of that's there, man. That is really freaking good. Man, that is good. Oops. Get out of here.
I'm actually going to just pour myself a little more.
It is nice.
I
like this a lot.
Since this is our last one of the evening.
If you're up for pouring me a little smidge more, I don't know. Throw myself.
Of course, I'll pour you a little smidge more there, Ti.
Right there, just
put that over here.
The brother up a little bit, There we go. This one was actually really good. This is on ice. I can see why they suggest making cocktails with it.
Yeah, because a cold, strain throughout. Manhattan, you strain your drink, right? I can see why, because it really brings out those flavors. Same with the whiskey sours. Yeah.
Same with the whiskey sours, you double strain.
So when I was younger, I had a bad experience with whiskey sour. And not like where I got sick. It was just, maybe it wasn't made right, or maybe I just wasn't mature enough for a whiskey sour. And it wasn't a drink for me, and I think it turned me off. Like, it stuck with me forever, never to ever have a whiskey sour. And I think I got to go get one from a good bartender. Ooh, we got to talk to our boys. Talk to our locale boys. Make us one, man. Make us the right one.
Because, honestly, when I first... So, I actually had a really well-made whiskey sour, and I sipped it, and I was like, this is really nice. It's a different flavor from what I'm used to. And then I was like, what's in it? And they were like, they talked about the ingredients. As soon as they got to the egg whites, I was like, wait, so I'm just drinking raw egg?
Rocky, look at my shirt.
I was like, okay, that's kind of gross. And so, I kind of haven't gone back to them.
Right, because of that. It makes sense.
But, when you think about it, it's not that big a deal.
No.
Right? Especially if, they're not, there's always a chance of anyone getting sick from eating raw egg. But it's for the drink, right? It's good to have once in a while, I think, the
right.
whiskey sour.
And I'm positive, however I had it, was from a mix. like whiskey
Oh, yeah,
sour,
totally.
and there was all kinds of whiskey sour mixes out there. That's probably one of the more famous
Don't do it, please.
mixes out there.
It's way too much like citrus in it.
Right.
It's like heartburn in a bottle.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I probably didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is like
It's
who
too
would drink
strong. You don't
this?
even taste the whiskey. It's
Right.
Just, it's literally
it's all
just
sour.
citrus.
Yeah, it's all that sour mix. But no, I mean, back to this. I'm not saying there's a winner or a loser tonight, but I mean, look, the Weller neat was my favorite that way.
Yep.
The Buffalo Trace, you can go in either direction. I think the Eagle Rare on ice is the way to go.
I think what we really do, because I mean we're in a mint julep kind of mood.
I use that for mint julep.
Buffalo Trace. Let's do a mint julep with it.
Okay, we can.
Why not?
Yeah, we can do that tonight. I'm not done tonight. We'll have a couple of cocktails tonight. Absolutely.
I think
Yeah,
because I want to try it because I mean like it was. I think out of the three, it was the punchier. Right, it had the deeper spice to it. Right, so that was spicier than the other two. I'd be interested if that when you add the mint to it and the ice and stuff like. I bet it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
But this is tasty. This is very tasty.
Yeah.
So now we're coming to the end of our evening tonight.
Yeah.
We didn't pull any cigars out tonight. I don't think we were thinking about it. I think because we had the cocktails and
we kind of distracted with the Kentucky
Derby, and then we also had some food earlier. Yeah. And we're gonna go back, and I know I'm gonna grab me another little slider, just set another base before I start having more cocktails tonight. And I think we're gonna try a whiskey tonight after the show that we will bring on the show. I don't think I'm gonna mention that whiskey on the show, but we learned about a whiskey.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
We learned about a whiskey Monday at the Whiskey U class we went to, and I immediately Googled it, found it, and ordered it while I was there. And
As any good whiskey drinker does.
I found this cool. I found a store online, Caskers, Caskers.com, and you know what? I ordered it Monday, and I got it today.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good
not
shipping.
bad at all.
That's pretty good shipping.
That's actually something, and I'm not sure if I've asked in previous episodes. But if anyone out there has a site that they go to that they like order from, that they're like, I love this site. They always have a good selection, good pricing. Like,
hit us up.
Seriously, chat, like comment on the episode, right?
Yeah.
And just drop in there like, I go to this site because we're looking for it all the time. We're always looking for local good places that are local to us, but we also we understand that finding the rare stuff sometimes it's easier to just order it online. Yeah. So if you have a spot that you trust, that you really like the quality and the value and all that stuff, drop it in a comment on the on the episode.
Hit us up out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely hit us up because I know everybody has places they get their whiskeys from. Yeah. Some of it's online, some of it's in their stores locally, but hit us up where you get your whiskeys online. Because we like to go check those places out ourselves. 'Cause we're exploring different places now to buy our whiskey.
And if it works out, we'll give you a shout out. Why
not? Absolutely. But hey, T.I., this was a great evening tonight.
Awesome.
No cigars tonight. We'll be back to smoking cigars next week. Yeah. But as always, I do want to give a shout out to our friends, Fox Cigars.
Yep, foxcigar.com.
Hit them up. Check out their inventory online.
Just because we aren't smoking one doesn't mean that we don't have cigars from them.
Yes, we do have cigars from them. I just recently ordered some cigars. Ordered it on Wednesday, or I think I ordered it on Tuesday. I got it by Thursday or something like that. So it's great online, great, and sign up for their email list because you get great specials every day.
All the time.
So check them out. So I'll be going Sunfest tomorrow. I'll give everybody a little report next week. Hit us up on follow us on Instagram. Follow us on whatever platform you like to listen to us on. Listen to our shows on our website, thefriskywhiskey.com. Just check us out. Talk to your friends about us. Get us out there. The more listeners we get, the more we're gonna be able to do for everybody. Next week we're not sure what show. We may have a guest next week.
May.
And it may not. We don't know yet. We got to figure that out.
We're going to figure it out.
If we have that guest, it's going to be fun. I don't want to give what that guest might be doing that guest because it's going to be an interesting theme if he does come on.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Wait. If they come on.
Him. If he comes on. And so it's going to be a good show next week. Either way, with the guest or without the guest. If he doesn't come next week, he'll come the following week. Yeah. But everybody have a great evening. T.I., as always. Fun doing the show.
Pleasure.
And everybody have a great night. Have a nice frisky whiskey evening.
Enjoy your weekend.
Good shot. Much better.